Right, welcome back to the MT10 series. This is part 3. If you've watched part 1 and 2, you would have obviously been up to date with the job. This is the final episode. We're going to be putting the engine back in the bike, building it. I'll be explaining a few things on the way, the processes of putting coolant in, bleeding, oil, everything that goes with putting an engine back into a motorcycle. Then we're going to be going out for a test drive. I'm going to bring you guys along with me. I'll go through all the gears, make sure everything's working as it should be, pull over, check for any leaks, just give it a overall inspection. I'll do a little review on the MT10 as well. Obviously, if anyone looking to buy an MT10, I'll definitely give you good points, bad points, etc. So stay tuned. Right, engine is now in, bottom end is bolted up, front end has got a cage on this bike, so we'll leave that to the end. What we're going to get on with now, we're going to put the water pump in, headers, get all the bottom end done, and then we'll put the bench down, and then we'll start doing injectors, throttle bodies, airbox, etc, etc. So we're going to do some time lapses now, because obviously there's a lot to cover. Bottom end is now complete. We've got the oil cooler on, headers on, tied up everything, put everything back to as it should be. Now we're going to move on to the top part. We're going to do throttle bodies, coils, get all the routing of the loom in the right positions, and then we'll move on to getting the bike running and then going out for a test ride. Right, throttle body's on, throttle cable's all connected up, obviously loads of play. Obviously when you're turning the steering you want to make sure they're moving freely. If they are routed wrong then you're going to get not a good return on the cable. When working on this area of the bike you want to make sure everything is routed in the OEM way. Otherwise, you can cause yourself a future problem like a tear in the wire. Obviously, if you are forcing it in the wrong direction, that's why you've got to make sure everything is as it should be when putting the motorcycle back together. Alright, so we're just topping up after this first startup. As the engine was completely dry, they normally take about 4.1 after a new oil filter, but in this case it would be a little bit more, hence the rebuild. So after starting, you obviously need to double check it, as a lot of the oil does go to the oil filter. Right, MT10 is fully complete now. We're going to go out for a test ride and check the bike over, check the gears, make sure everything's working as it should be, pull over, give the bike a good little walk around inspection, and then head back. Right, so just talking as we test ride on this MT10, I did actually have a microphone connected inside the helmet while I was on a test ride, but the wind did take over that. So for future videos, we will be investing in a much better microphone so you can hear the bike as well as my voice. But yeah, just talking as I want to go through what I will be explaining during the test ride, what we'll be looking for. So going through the gears, we want to be looking for obviously every single gear working as it should be, from first all the way through to sixth gear, making sure there's no judders, no jumping out of gears, no false neutrals, obviously giving the engine a good listen as well, making sure every single gear sounds and runs as it should. So obviously going down the straight now, we are putting like load on every single gear. This is what you'll be testing when you are looking or rebuilding a gearbox. After completing the job and you do go out for your test ride, you do want to be putting like quite a lot of pressure and power onto the gearbox, because that is when you would normally get a gearbox issue. Normally most people suffer with gearbox problems when obviously putting a load of throttle into the engine. So coming out of the roundabout, we'll be going through first, second, through to third, making sure quick shifter works, making sure like the gears are nice and smooth. Obviously this model doesn't come with a blipper, this is just a straight quick shifter, so it should change seamless going all the way up to sixth gear, and then just coming down the gears you want to be throttle matching. If you do have a blipper, then obviously you can do it without touching the clutch, but if you don't, make sure when you go down the gears you are throttle matching, adding some revs as you do blip down the gears. If you don't do that, you potentially could do some damage. You need to know exactly how to throttle match. Also on the test ride, we will be looking out for obviously any leaks, etc. Not that I expect any, but you know, this is what test rides are for. Just keep an eye on the temperature as well. You kind of want to be running around 75, 85, like while cruising. Obviously at traffic lights, you are going to creep up to the 95s. Fans should kick in about 106. We have obviously bled the system, so you still can get a little bit of air now and then, but yeah, this is what we'll be keeping an eye on. Obviously where we've had the engine out, we have disconnected a lot of things. We're making sure the engine light stays off, all the electronics work, even down to lights, indicators. Even though we haven't gone there, we did disconnect the main ground, so yeah, we will be looking out for any issues like this. So far so good. Bike seems to be riding smooth, happy with it at the moment. Even brakes, like we'll be checking brakes, just anything that we didn't touch. This is what a test ride's for, you know, like you do sometimes catch future problems, new problems, old problems that weren't there before. This is exactly why we do a test ride. Right now, so we're heading back. Obviously, like I said, putting load on the bike, adding a bit more power, going through the gears. Once again, you want to be triple checking everything, trying to make the test ride as long as possible, making sure the bike is ready for collection. We'll be doing a little stop off on the way, just doing a little walk around of the bike, double checking leaks, making sure everything as it should be. And then when we do go back to the workshop, we'll give it a final once over, give it a little bit of a wipe down, and then the customer can collect. Just talking about the MT10 actually as it is as a naked bike, like if you are looking to buy one, they are a super naked bike. The power is very aggressive. The way the bike does produce power is basically pretty much the same as the R1. Obviously the riding position is upright. You are going to feel the wind a lot more, rather than being on a super bike. You obviously are in a tucked over position, but MT10 is definitely not one for the light-hearted. They are super aggressive. Definitely fun bike if you want to do touring, you want to go on long journeys. They literally carry a lot of horsepower for a naked bike. I would definitely recommend it if you are looking for a high-powered naked bike. Little bit completely different to the MT09. Obviously MT09 3 cylinders. This is a 4-cylinder motorcycle, so the power delivery is completely different. They are an absolute powerhouse, and very difficult to keep the front wheel down. Right, so we are going to be taking the next right now, where we will jump off the bike and have a little walk around. Like I said, throttle matching again when coming down the gears, making sure we're nice and smooth. If you do have one of these MT10s or an R1, they do run pretty much the same gearbox. Make sure you do know exactly what you're doing when changing down the gears, because they do have a bit of a sensitive gearbox. This is definitely not the first gearbox I've done on an MT10 or an R1. So yeah, they do tend to break a tooth now and then if you are way too aggressive. So yeah, just make sure you're nice and gentle, bike's warm, up to temperature like I said. So just having a little walk around, making sure there's no obvious leaks, checking the water pump, making sure no oil is on the floor. Obviously we don't expect any of this, but look, it is good to checking the chain tension's fine. Obviously we have just put a brand new chain and sprocket on there as well. Giving a little listen to the engine, So yeah, very happy with that test ride. Obviously all went well, as it should do. Head back to the garage, give it a once over, little wipe down, finish up the job, call the customer, and he can collect his bike. Also, just one more thing, if you do like obviously me videoing the test rides and doing a little review on bikes and stuff like that, if you do want to see more content like that, do let me know, as I do test ride a lot of bikes. I'm happy to give my personal opinion on each motorcycle of what I do. So, you know, if you are looking to buy a motorcycle and you want some personal information from me, let me know if you like seeing this content. I will be doing more. Also, one last top tip: if you do come to the garage and you do get lost, just save this video so you can see exactly where to turn in and how to find us, because I do get it quite often, people end up in a completely wrong location. So yeah, save that, look, bang the next right and you'll be straight outside the garage. Thanks for watching. Test ride is fully complete now. The customers are going to be collecting the motorcycle today. Let me know if you have enjoyed the series all the way from episode 1 to 3. Drop a comment if you've got any questions. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, etc. I appreciate all the support. Thank you for watching.